100 million years ago, Earth looked completely different from today. There were no humans, and some terrifying animals ruled this planet. Dinosaurs, enormous creatures, many of them taller than buildings, had jaws strong enough to crush your bones in an instant. Don't try to outrun them, because they were among the fastest creatures ever to walk the Earth. These kings ruled the planet for more than 170 million years. But then one day, something happened, and that something wiped them out completely from the planet. Exactly what happened, and how did it unfold? Let's find out together in this video. The word dinosaur originates from the Greek words danios and sauros. Danios means terrifying, and sauros means lizard. A terrifying lizard. That's the literal meaning of the word dinosaur. The term was first used in 1841 by Richard, a British scientist. When dinosaur fossils were first discovered, scientists didn't know much about them. Early drawings of dinosaur shapes looked very different from what we know today. Megalosaurus was one of the first fossils to be discovered. Take a look at its original illustrations. Decades later, as researchers uncovered more information, those drawings were revised to look more realistic. And here is the modern depiction of Megalosaurus. As of today, over 10,000 dinosaur fossils have been unearthed by paleontologists around the world. More than 900 species have been identified. Interestingly, from 2003 to 2022, an average of about 45 new dinosaur species have been identified each year, and the work of paleontologists is far from over. Do you feel excited about the prospect of discovering even more dinosaur fossils? Take a look at the photos of dinosaur species discovered in 2021. One of them was a strange dinosaur found in Chile, with a tail that resembled a blade and a beak instead of a mouth. It was named Securer. Overall, we now know quite a bit about dinosaurs. Let's start this story from the very beginning. We'll go back in time, millions of years ago. Scientists estimate that the first dinosaurs appeared about 230 to 240 million years ago. That's based on the oldest dinosaur fossils we've found so far, which are dated to 31.4 million years ago, discovered in Africa. Back then, Earth looked very different from today. The continents we now recognize as Asia, Africa, Australia, and Europe were all connected into a single supercontinent known as Pangaea. Scientists believe it looked something like the image you're seeing. You can even spot the modern-day positions of the continents. At that time, Earth's climate was arid and received very little rainfall. This period marked the beginning of dinosaur evolution. The dinosaurs of this era were unlike what you might imagine. They were fairly small in size. Most common species at the time were only about 2 meters long. For example, Ornithosuchus was a dinosaur that lived during this period. In fact, it is known as the ancestor of many other dinosaur species. The dominant animals of that time were giant reptiles. Some of these reptiles looked cute, like this one, which is believed to be the ancestor of all turtles. Over time, Earth began to change. About 201 million years ago, the Triassic period ended as Earth's climate shifted rapidly and Pangaea began to break apart. While the term rapid is used here, the change didn't happen overnight. On the scale of millions of years, it was considered fast, but it actually took thousands of years to occur. Cracks appeared across the supercontinent, accompanied by massive volcanic eruptions in and around the fault lines. These eruptions released vast amounts of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. This led to severe global warming. When sulfur dioxide interacted with the atmosphere, it also triggered global cooling. Ocean acidification began as carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide mixed with seawater, raising the acidity of the oceans. The climate changed rapidly, making survival harder for existing species. Most reptiles and other animals at the time were cold-blooded. and couldn't tolerate such temperature shifts. However, some warm-blooded dinosaurs managed to withstand the changes more easily. Volcanic eruptions and climate change continued for about 600,000 years. As a result, nearly all other species became extinct. The only animals left on Earth were dinosaurs, crocodiles, turtles, and primitive mammals. This event is known as one of the greatest mass extinctions in history. After that, the era ended and the Jurassic period began. If the name sounds familiar, that's because it inspired the title of the movie, Jurassic Park. The Jurassic period lasted from 201.5 to 145 million years ago. During this time, dinosaurs emerged as the most dominant species on the planet. Through evolution, some of them grew to enormous sizes. One example is the Titanosaurus, which lived around 160 million years ago. Each one could weigh up to 15,000 kilograms and reach lengths of up to 15 meters. Other iconic dinosaurs from this era include Brontosaurus, Rexiosaurus, Diplodosaurus, and Secans. During the Jurassic period, some dinosaurs evolved to fly. One of the first feathered dinosaurs was a counterist. It looked like this. At this point in time, the supercontinent Pangaea had split into two smaller supercontinents. These were named Laurasia and Gondwana. Thanks to the movie Jurassic Park, the Jurassic period is the most well-known. But the time when dinosaurs truly thrived was the Cretaceous period, which began after the Jurassic ended. During this time, Earth witnessed a massive boom in dinosaur species. Many new species evolved. T-Rex is perhaps the most famous dinosaur ever to appear in film. It existed during the Cretaceous period and only reached peak dominance near the end of that era, about 65 to 68 million years ago. Although there is debate among researchers, most scientists agree that T-Rex did not exist during the Jurassic. It's kind of funny that Jurassic Park used T-Rex as the symbol of the film. The Cretaceous period was the longest era in the age of dinosaurs, beginning around 145 years ago and lasting until about 65 million years ago. The two supercontinents, Laurasia and Gondwana, began to split, and the continental structure became more similar to what we see today. Some flowering plants began to develop during this time. Earth's average temperature was warmer than in previous periods, sea levels were high, and nearly all the types of dinosaurs you can imagine existed during this time. Meat-eating birds, armored dinosaurs, giant herbivores, dangerous predators, all were present. Titanosaurus was one of the largest land animals. Argentinosaurus could weigh up to 77 tons. Rex could grow up to 40 feet in length and was considered the apex predator of its time. It had the strongest and most powerful bite of any known animal. Here's an interesting fact. Grass didn't begin evolving until about 70 million years ago. So a grassy Earth, like we often imagine, didn't exist in the story being told. Instead, there were other types of plants. 68 million years ago, do you know what this means? We are actually closer in time to T-Rex than it was to the Jurassic period. There are 80 million years between the Jurassic and the emergence of T-Rex, but only 68 million years between us and T-Rex. Another fascinating dinosaur that existed later was Onyx. It resembled an ostrich and was one of the fastest dinosaurs. It could run at speeds of up to 80 km/h. As for flying, the largest known flying dinosaur was Quetzalcoatlus, with a wingspan of 10 to 11 meters. As you can see, this was the golden age of dinosaurs. The climate was favorable. New species were exploding in diversity, and no other animals could compete. Dinosaurs became the undisputed rulers of Earth. Everything was going great, until one day something happened that something wiped out all dinosaurs from the Earth forever. A massive asteroid with a diameter of about 10 to 15 kilometers crashed directly into Earth. This event happened 66 million years ago, and it marked the end of the Cretaceous period. The asteroid traveled at a speed of 30 kilometers per second, which is 150 times faster than a jet plane. It struck the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, the same place where millions of years later, the Maya civilization would emerge and build historic wonders like Chichen Itza. When the asteroid hit Earth, it created a massive crater with a diameter of 180 kilometers. The impact released energy at an astonishing rate. It was equivalent to 100 teratons of TNT. If you think about the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, this asteroid released 1 billion times more energy. The impact was so massive that everything around it disintegrated in an instant. The collision threw enormous amounts of debris into the atmosphere. The ground heated up, and hot dust rained down on distant regions. Global temperatures rose sharply. Every animal within thousands of kilometers of the explosion was cooked alive by the heat. Scientists believe that only small animals were able to survive the initial impact because they found shelter underground, underwater, in caves, or inside large tree trunks. But this was just the beginning. What followed was a series of shock waves, thermal blasts, forest fires stretching thousands of kilometers, and massive tsunamis. It is believed that a tsunami occurred instantly, with wave columns reaching heights of 2 kilometers. Volcanic eruptions resumed, acid rain poured down, and earthquakes shook the Earth. The short-term effects were devastating, but the long-term consequences were even more dangerous. Dust particles in the atmosphere blocked sunlight across the planet. For an entire year, Earth entered a nuclear winter. Temperatures dropped drastically for the next 3 years. Earth fell into a freezing state. This killed off many plant and animal species. Because sunlight was blocked for a year, plants couldn't photosynthesize, trees, withered herbivores had nothing to eat and began to die off. Even carnivores had no prey and slowly starved to death. A chain reaction had begun. The only animals that survived these consequences were small omnivores such as mammals, lizards, turtles, and some birds. These animals managed to survive by feeding on the carcasses of dead dinosaurs, fungi, and rotting vegetation. These were the foods that kept them alive. The impact also destroyed some types of carbonate rocks. This released more carbon and sulfur into the atmosphere. For the next few thousand years, sunlight continued to be significantly reduced. Additionally, acid rain persisted for thousands of years. When the nuclear winter finally ended, the dust in the atmosphere settled, and sunlight reached the planet again. But the problem was that a massive amount of carbon dioxide had accumulated in the atmosphere. This caused severe global warming. Except for a few rare cases, no four-legged creature heavier than 25 kilograms survived this event. All land-dwelling dinosaurs, along with more than 75% of all plant and animal species that once thrived on Earth, went extinct. At this point, the Cretaceous period ended and the Paleogene period began. But the Paleogene period wasn't necessarily peaceful. The asteroid impact acted as an opportunity for the surviving animals. The dominant species, dinosaurs, were gone. This gave other species the chance to rise and flourish. Humans should be thankful for this asteroid as it gave mammals a good opportunity to evolve. After the extinction of the dinosaurs, the gap left in the food chain was filled by certain mammals. During this time, we witnessed the evolution of horses, elephants, bats, and primates. Some smaller snakes and lizards also began to appear. The only group of dinosaurs that survived was the flying dinosaurs. Gradually, they evolved into the birds we know today. Yes, you heard that right. Birds are the last surviving descendants of the dinosaurs. Through carbon dating, scientists discovered that the egg layer we found is 66 million years old. This could only have occurred when the asteroid collided with Earth. Following the explosion, this mineral spread everywhere. You might wonder, since the asteroid had such a massive impact, shouldn't we be able to see the crater it left on Earth? Well, you're not wrong, but it might not look like what you imagine, because this event happened a very long time ago, 66 million years ago, and since then, the continents have continuously shifted. The asteroid's crater is buried within the Yucatan Peninsula. Several exploratory surveys have been conducted and confirmed that this is indeed the exact location where the asteroid impact occurred. If you look at a map, this is the precise location, half submerged underwater, the other half on land. One of the lasting impacts we can still see today is the presence of sinkholes around Mexico. These sinkholes can be found in the region surrounding the impact crater. Today, they're popular tourist attractions. You can swim in these sinkholes. They form part of the largest underground cave system in the world. After hearing the story of the asteroid strike, you might start thinking about what would happen if an asteroid like that were to strike Earth. Right now, humans might go extinct. It is undoubtedly a real threat. Asteroids can potentially collide with Earth in the near future. These are called near-Earth asteroids. NASA and other space agencies are continuously monitoring all these asteroids to calculate their trajectories and determine whether they will collide with Earth. And if so, when, as of April 2022, more than 28,000 near-Earth asteroids have been identified. Among them, over 800 have a diameter of 1 kilometer or more. That's a frightening number. Many asteroids have the potential to strike Earth. But for now, you don't need to be afraid, because today's advanced calculations allow us to predict asteroid paths with great accuracy. We can precisely estimate the impact point of an asteroid and even assess its actual likelihood of hitting Earth. And if one really is on a collision course, what can we do to stop it? That's the idea behind NASA's DART mission launched in 2021. It was a test of the double asteroid redirection test. NASA planned for a spacecraft to collide with an asteroid to change its path. If in the future an asteroid is headed for Earth, we could alter its trajectory. This might sound like science fiction, but the idea has already succeeded. In September 2022, the test was conducted on an asteroid that was not on a collision course with Earth. NASA sent a spacecraft to it. The spacecraft collided with the asteroid, and its path changed. If they could successfully do that with this asteroid, then it could be done with any asteroid that poses a threat to Earth in the future. But asteroids aren't the only danger. Humans are the current threat. The asteroid strike that killed the dinosaurs is known as Earth's fifth mass extinction event. Scientists now believe that the sixth mass extinction has already begun, not caused by any volcano or asteroid, but by humans. It's called the Holocene extinction. Over the past 100 to 200 years, we've witnessed biodiversity loss on an unprecedented scale. Plant and animal species are rapidly going extinct due to human activity. Biologists agree that this is a mass extinction event. Humans are destroying forests, polluting the oceans and atmosphere. As a result, the current extinction rate is 100 to 1,000 times higher than the natural extinction rate. Animal habitats are being destroyed. Thousands of mammal, bird, reptile, and amphibian species are now endangered or have already gone extinct due to humans. To combat this devastation, a United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity Summit was held in Japan in 2010. 20 biodiversity targets were established to be achieved by 2020. Unfortunately, only 6 of them were even partially met. In January 2020, a new plan called the Barry-Style Framework was established to prevent the collapse of biodiversity and ecosystems. The deadline was set for the year 2030. The goal of the plan is to ensure that 30% of the Earth's land and oceans are placed under protection. Additionally, the plan aims to reduce pollution by at least 50%. Scientists have proposed that ongoing extinctions should be limited to 20 species per year or fewer. We'll have to wait and see how many of these targets can actually be achieved. But one thing is certain: it is crucial to take action now. Because if plant and animal species continue to go extinct as they did in past extinction events, then perhaps humans won't be able to survive for long either. It's fascinating to know that according to calculations, humans only originated around 300,000 years ago in Africa, compared to dinosaurs, which ruled Earth for 174 million years. We have only been here for a blink of an eye in Earth's timeline. We've only been around for 300,000 years, 600 times less than the dinosaurs. So what do you think about this information? Do you believe humans can outlast the record set by dinosaurs? Or will humanity go extinct before reaching 1 million years of age? Leave your thoughts in the comments and let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to watch the latest videos.